And this one here, look at that. A little screw. Speaking of screws, well, we got some problems here on set. Hey, Steve Mignogna here at Burniston Auto Wrecking, where usually I'm doing the junkyard crawl, but every once in a while we break out the hubcap game, where we dig into the Magic Hubcap van and look at some old hubcaps and wheel covers. Let's start now. All right, looks like Plymouth Valiant, 1963, 4, something like that. It's when the Valiant became more normal looking, not 60, 61, 2, but 3 and 4, they became kind of more normal. 13 inches, very small, one piece, kind of like that red and blue effect, kind of cool. Plymouth Valiant, Prince Valiant, if you will. And the Valiant's competitor, a few years later, the Chevy Nova. This would have been a 68 or so Chevy Nova wheel cover right here. Doesn't say Chevy on it, but if you know your Novas, you will know. This is a 14-inch Chevy Nova wheel cover from like 68, 69. The deluxe wheel cover, as it were. These could also sometimes be seen on Nova SS 350s, believe it or not. But again, the Chevy Nova, which was a competitor to the Plymouth Valiant. Okay, Ford, full-size stuff. There's the Angry Frog logo. If you look at it coming straight on, it's kind of like a weird, funky frog with big eyes and stuff, but probably a 64 Super Torque Ford Galaxy, something like that. Stainless with a die-cast center with a steel-based retainer, which is rotting away. But again, interesting to see where these are sort of unidirectional, kind of. You can see there's sort of a step to them. They only go one way, as it were. But again, there's not a left and a right. You either have them right or you have them wrong. You have them wrong or have them right, or whatever you choose. Full-size Ford. Okay, let's bring it into the 1980s. Oh boy, Pontiac, probably like an S, one of those front-wheel drive thingamajigs, like a J car or something like that, J2000 or who knows what. But again, plastic and steel, well, stainless, I should say. The skin is stainless, but the actual structure is an injection molded plastic of some kind. Pretty rugged stuff. Got to say, when plastic gets cold, it gets very brittle. These are not known for shattering in 0-degree mornings. They're pretty rugged stuff. So plastic came a long way, but it's still plastic. It ain't metal. Oh, Charlie's Angels, anyone? The Mustang 2 Ghia. Now the center is gone, but if you recognize this sort of metal honeycomb effect sort of pays tribute to the Trans Am, but this would have been 74, 5, 6, 7 Mustang 2 Ghia, the upscale one. And again, interesting, it's a multi-piece device. The basic stamping is stainless steel, but all these little holes, and then the honeycomb is added with these 4 screws to give you this effect here. So multi-piece, kind of heavier than you'd think it would be. All metal. Again, the Ghia logo here was gone. Now Ghia, of course, the Italian coach builder, was owned by Ford at this point in time, so that's why Ghia was so randomly applied to things that were not Italian in any way, shape, or form in the mid-70s. Okay, here's the Chevy Caprice wheel cover, 1974, full-size Chevy right here. And again, it's interesting to see where they tried to go for a slot effect here with the blacked out regions, but again, you're not fooling me. This is not slotted in any way. It's a one-piece hubcap. And I always had trouble with positive domes, because they look like they're going to get crunched by the curb, and they don't really look cool, like a deep dish mag wheel. But again, this has been seen on a full-size Chevy 74 or so, 15-inch wheel right here. Oh, this is kinky. We saw one of these on the 20th episode. This is the 21st, by the way, hubcap game, but this is kind of cool. This is a poor boy wheel cover. It looks kind of like a Krager SS Mag. A lot of steel, a lot of cheesy, cheap aluminum, and basically die-cast aluminum right here. But look at that spinner with those little lightning holes. How cool is that? Fake acorn nuts. This, when it was brand new, looked so tacky it was cool. Right now it looks even better. I like this thing. And this, okay, this, oh yeah, 1958 Plymouth Belvedere right here. It kind of looks like a Ford Maverick, but this is almost certainly Plymouth. 1958 Plymouth Belvedere. Maybe upscale Savoy, but yeah, Belvedere type stuff right here. In fact, AMT makes a 1/25th scale model of a Belvedere, and this has the same wheel covers this thing has right here, 14-incher. And this would have been from the first year, I believe, or second year of torsion bar suspension up front on a Mopar full-size car. Kind of cool. And all right, yeah, Chrysler Imperial right here. I like that sort of three-dimensional sunken look, the lucite with the gold braided effect going on right there. Pretty cool stuff. Die cast, stamped steel, and all kinds of stuff going on here. Metal on the back. And Katie, what do you think about all this? Do you like hubcaps, do you? That's cool. Good stuff. And then continuing, oh yeah, here's more. Okay, Ford Maverick. Now the Maverick had an upscale version. These were also seen on Torinos, but these could be had with this area right here, color matched to the car, like baby vomit yellow, or sometimes toast brown, or whatever it might be. But this is basically a Ford Maverick, or full-sized, like, well, Torino type of a wheel cover from, say, 7345, like that. Fixed, good as new. More mid-70s goodness from Chrysler, Dodge right here. This would have been seen classically on a Dodge Coronet, Dodge Dart, and these basically were the corporate hubcap for the compact and mid-size Mopars. 14-inch, strictly diameter, one-piece stamping, stainless steel, be here long before I'm gone. And this, yes, okay. This is a 50s GM product wheel cover right here, probably a 15-incher, stainless steel, one piece. The outer clamp area here is not a metal piece riveted, it's actually pressed into the overall stamping. And here's the thing, it takes multiple strikes to bend the metal this many times, and then also to weld in, to add in these serrations. This would have been a flat sheet that was then stamped probably 3 times to get the effect we see right here. So stainless steel, I want to say Buick, almost certainly a Buick or an Oldsmobile, one of the two, mid-50s, 53, 54. And yeah, here it is. Chevrolet right there. Now this one here has the center, this plastic center still in place. We can see here that it's a very large structure. It's only held in by these tabs. When this center goes away, you get a big hole. And what you then do, if you're a snotty kid like I was when I was little, you'd see this car parked, you grab a bunch of rocks, throw them into the hubcap, and as the guy drove off, you'd hear this clanking noise. And when he stopped again, it would clank again. But on the road, he wouldn't hear any noise because the centrifugal force would spin them. So again, this is a 66 Chevy full-size wheel cover right here, as seen like on a Bel Air or something like that. Chrysler, kind of nondescript, you know, Chrysler wheel cover from like a 73 Newport, maybe a New Yorker, but again, a one-piece stamping, kind of a bunt cake thing going on. Sort of has the feel of a finned brake drum, but trust me, there ain't no brake drum going on here. It's a one-piece stamping. Dig the paper tag right there, either the vendor, it's either a new hubcap or the vendor sticker that was part of the deal when these were shipped to Chrysler plants in pallets to be installed by the subcontractor. That tag is still there, kind of weird and kind of rare. Okay, and this one speaks for itself. Buick right there. When better cars are built, Buick will build them. Done in a script effect right there. And this would have been, I think, 51 or 2 Buick, right before the V8 age. Would have been a Fireball 8, either a 320 or a 248, depending on what type of vehicle it was, but overhead valve inline 8. And the weird thing about these is the horizon, these are only right once. If you park like that, if you have OCD, it's not good. Or if it's like that, but if you're like that, you're good and you can sleep that night. It's good stuff. A wheel cover, this is strange. Okay, this is not stumping me, but this is a one-piece aluminum item, kind of anodized. It's not named, it's not a Mopar. This might be Mercury from the late 60s, maybe a cheap Mercury cop car. Hard to say. It's not Plymouth, it's not Dodge, it's not one of the generic Dodge vans. Bigger than that. Kind of stumping me. I'm going to say maybe Mercury full size, like a Montego cop car, 1968, 69. Hard to say. Can't win them all. Oh boy. Okay. Dodge Aspen, Plymouth Volare, the F-body twins of 1976. This would have been seen on the vast majority, like the Dodge Aspen SE Special Edition, one-piece stamping. Again, multi-strikes to get all these folds and crimps in there. Multiple strikes, actually, for this thing, kind of like a coin. But again, the blackout trim to make it look kind of like a vented wheel cover, to give it some visual energy, if you will. But you're not fooling me. These are pretty basic cars. But they sold. All right. Okay, these are kind of cool. Jeep, these are probably from a Jeep Wagoneer 6345, something like that. And this one is off the back. That one's either off the front or it's been cut. Same wheel cover, but this one, it's a little too crudely cut. But again, when you had the manual locking hubs, you basically had a thing you had to twist, which popped through these things. So Jeep did do that, but this one is a little too raw to have been a factory item. I'm going to dare say that this is one of these that's been sliced and diced by some owner. But these were certainly on the front of certain Jeeps, but not that crude. Okay, yeah, this speaks for itself. Dodge, but we know for sure this is from 1953 or thereabouts, 53 or 4. The V tells us V8 when Dodge was really bragging about the new red Ram Hemi, the 241 cubic inch little engine, 240. But again, the baby Hemi right here. The only thing, again, is weird if you park like that or like that or like that. It bothers me. In fact, I always, when I was a kid, I was looking at like the Dodge sales brochure from 1953, and you always notice the car's photographed like on the beach or the grass, whatever, and the hubcaps are always arranged so they're exactly horizontal like that. So kind of one of those weird things. If it bothered them, it should bother you too. All right, so here's the last one here. This is a Cadillac wheel cover for sure. Full-size Caddy, probably 59 or 60. What an elaborate and massive structure this is. That's an enameled inlay right there in the center. That's sort of a copper-ish thing, multi-piece. The outer stamping here. And basically, look at the inner and outer, the bundt cake effect. You could totally make a bundt cake or a birthday cake with this thing. And this one here, look at that. Oh. Little screw. Speaking of screws, well, we got some problems here on set. Rudolph Dieselhead has a screw loose. Tune in next time to find out how it ends.